Okay, we're factoring by grouping. I just want to take a quick look at another couple examples. Now, if I could tell you one thing, just one thing you can do to help you prevent you from making mistakes on these, and this is what I do, as silly as it may seem, I'll copy the problem down out of my textbook, and then I'm going to write the problem down again. I'm going to tell you why. It's because when we go to group these terms and associate them, when we have a negative sign here, something goofy is going to happen. So maybe in this case, I'll just group these first two terms here. I see there's going to be a GCF in there, a T term. But when I group the second terms, I just changed the value. Okay, if I think about this negative sign maybe as a -1 in there and distribute it, I have a negative times a 3t, which is -3t. Okay, that's okay. But a negative times a -6 would be a +6, but it's not a +6, it's a -6. So what I have to do here is actually change this sign. So I like to have the original problem right here so that I can reference it. When I group my terms, I distribute that negative to make sure that I have not changed the value of any term. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and factor out my greatest common factors. GCF of my first term is t squared. T squared times t is t cubed. T squared times 2 is 2t squared. Okay, minus. I'm factoring out a 3. T plus 2. Again, we had kind of this magic thing happen. We have a binomial common factor just magically appear there. Okay, so we'll factor it out. We'll factor out our t plus 2. T plus 2 times something, that something is t squared. T plus 2 times something is my last term, that thing is -3. So this is completely factored. Okay, the last one's a little weird, and I think I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm going to make a mistake here. And I'm just going to start by factoring out x squared minus 12y plus 15x minus 8xy. So you might notice that, yes, there's a GCF of the first two terms of 2. There's a GCF of x down here. So we're going to try just grouping these terms as they are. And then factoring out a GCF. I factor out a 2. And I'm left with 5x squared minus 6y. Plus, I could factor out, let's see, just an x out here. And then I'm going to get 15 minus 8y. And what you'll notice is that the binomials are not the same. So we cannot factor out a binomial GCF. What we actually have to do with this one is we have to start over. And we're going to rearrange the terms. Now, just looking at this, you're going to notice that we have x terms here with the 10 and the 15. We have y terms here with the 12 and the 8, and there's going to be a larger greatest common factors to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start over. And I'm going to rearrange the terms. I'm going to do a 10x squared, but I want to put that one with the 15x. And then I want my minus 12y with my minus 8xy. Okay, and then again, I like to copy the problem down again just as it is before I group the terms so that I can make sure that I have not made any mistakes in value when I put parentheses in here, especially with these negative signs. Okay, I group my first terms. I group my second terms. I notice that I have a -12y. That's okay. A negative times a negative would have been a positive. So again, I have to change the sign on this one now. A negative times a positive 8xy is a negative 8xy. Okay. Now we're going to look for a greatest common factor, which is 5x. We'll factor that out of the first binomial, and we're left with 5x times 2x is 10x squared, plus 5x times 3 is 15x. We have a minus. I'm going to factor out a 4y out of this second one. 4y times 3 is 12y, plus 4y times 2x is 8xy. Okay, so you'll notice that 3 plus 2x is now the same thing as 2x plus 3. Now, I could rewrite those terms so that the 2x plus 3 is in the same order as this 2x plus 3, but I know that that's the same thing. So I'm just going to factor out that common binomial factor, 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3 times something is our whole first term. That something is 5x. 2x plus 3 times something is my whole second term. That something is a minus 4y. All right. Have a great day, folks. See you later.